This is Lunchtime Politics, reaching live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma, is your midway gateway into the polity. But let's begin with the headlines right now. Human rights activist and legal practitioner Dele Farotimi is being arraigned at the Chief Magistrate Court in Ado-Ekiti over defamation case against Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yahaya Bello. Vice President Shetima takes a swipe at the leader of the UK Conservative Party, Badenoch, for denigrating Nigeria, our ancestral home and heritage. And the battle over the leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State appears far from over, with Emeka Beke, Antonio Kocha grandstanding on whose table the ball stops. Beke's team gets a right of reply on the program today. A lot goes on yesterday, or went on yesterday, towards the early part of this morning and just before the show. As far as politics is concerned, we condense all of that right here at midday, and we call it your rite of passage into what is going on in politics and the polity. But let's get things started from the Chief Magistrate Court in Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti State capital, for the defamation case between Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yahaya Bello, and a Lagos-based human rights lawyer. An activist, Dele Farotimi, you can see him there smiling while leaving that vehicle. Farotimi's arrival was seen there, arriving in court this morning. Yahaya Bello had considered aspects of a 104-page book titled Nigeria and its Criminal Justice, authored by Farotimi, as defaming him, and petitioned the police to take action. On Monday, the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti had granted bail in the sum of 15 million naira and surety-like sum to the defendant in the suit filed by the Inspector General of Police against him over alleged cybercrime. Meanwhile, human rights activist Omoyele Shore had called for a protest today, December the 10th, in Ekiti, Lagos, Abuja, and King's College in London. But in Ado-Ekiti, as of this morning, the protest is yet to hold. However, in Lagos, here, police presence is observed at the entrance of the Magodo Brooks along CMD Road, where Yahaya Bello Chambers is located. There are no protesters in sight, and traffic is flowing freely. You can be sure I'm working my device for any breaking news as far as that case at the arraignment is concerned. But let's move on to the nation's capital, where Justice Mary Ananeni of the Federal High Courts has refused to grant a bail application filed by the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, saying it was filed prematurely. Delivering the ruling, Justice Ananeni said, having been found when it was neither in custody nor before the court, the instant application was incompetent. The former governor is standing trial alongside two others in an alleged 110 billion naira money laundering charge brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. While delivering a ruling, Justice Mary Ananeni said the instant application for bail showed that it was filed on November the 22nd. This shows that it was filed several days after the first defendant was taken into custody. Reading from the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, the judge provided that an application for bail could be made when a defendant had been arrested, detained, arraigned, or brought before the court. Mr. Bello had filed an application for his bail application on November the 22nd, but was taken into custody on November the 26th and arraigned on November the 27th. So clearly that's a premise for which the judge had refused to grant him bail, though it's a bailable offense. Let's stay with the nation's capital, where Vice President Shetima is criticizing the leader of the British Conservative Party, Badenoch, for disparaging Nigeria. He relayed his displeasure at the 10th Annual National Migration Dialogue at the State House in Abuja. The Vice President also highlighted the significant role migrants play in shaping societies and driving economic growth. He says government will protect the rights of migrants, celebrating their legacy and contributions to national development.
Government of Nigeria, under the able and capable leadership of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR remains resolute in addressing migration challenges. Migrants are the source of life in all societies. Rishi Sunak, the former British Prime Minister, is originally from India. A very brilliant young man. He never denigrated his nation of ancestry, nor poured venoms on India. Badenoch, the leader of the British Labour or Conservative Party. We are proud of her, in spite of her efforts at denigrating her nation of origin. She is entitled to her own opinions. She has even every right to remove the Kemi from her name. But that does not underscore the fact that the greatest black nation on earth is the nation called Nigeria.
All right, those are strong words from the Vice President to Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party. Let's move on now to other stories where this time the Tony Okocha-led Rivers APC group have constituted a panel of inquiry to investigate causes of the explosion that rocked their secretariats in the early hours of October the 5th, 2024. Speaking after an expanded ESCO meeting in Port Harcourt, Mr. Okocha criticized Governor Siminalayi Fubara's exclusion of the APC secretariat from the facilities being investigated by the State Judicial Panel of Inquiry.
We have agreed to set up our own panel of inquiry. The panel will be empowered, will be empaneled to extend invitations to anybody. Anybody is above the law. Invite people. We are hearing stories and gossips of what happened and what happened, but we cannot agree to it. But it is your duty to isolate these points and then give us a report of what happened to our party secretariat. Unfortunately, because we were in a hurry to fix the party secretariat, we had fixed up. Otherwise, we would have left the structure the way it was after the bomb. So that you will see it with their own eyes.
It's quite interesting, the what plays out in Rivers State. So Emeka, Tony Okocha actually is saying that he's going to set up a panel of inquiry to investigate what went on as far as the explosion in their secretariat is concerned. There's a lot going on with Rivers State APC. There are two leaders claiming leadership of the party. There are court judgment, court rulings being obeyed or disobeyed. There are two secretariats. It's an interesting mix of Rivers politics. The governor is in the PDP. The members of assembly, we're not sure where they are because the case is still under adjudication. Some part of APC or PDP. The local government chairman belongs to APP. And then the APC that's supposed to be the lead opposition are split in half. So we're joined on the program by the reinstated publicity secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, Darlington Nwago, who joins us via Zoom from Rivers State. Darlington, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
It's always an interesting scenario when we hear the name Rivers and its politics. But maybe your immediate response to what Tony Okocha has said he wants to do, because I know that Emeka Beke was reinstated, and then we understand that the case was appealed by the NWC of your party. That case has now been adjourned. And then I asked Tony Okocha yesterday some of those questions, and he said he's not in court, he doesn't have a knowledge of some of these things I was talking about, which is why we brought you to have your right of reply. So first, I'm going to build the case from what he said, and then we're going to talk about the Congress that he held.
Well, concerning what he said, you see, when you have all manner of characters fishing in the political ponds of Rivers State and Nigeria, you would. It is terrible to think that any reasonable individual can wake up one morning and begin to build a state within a state. This is Badenoch. It's not acceptable. There is nobody by the construction of the law that has powers whatsoever to empanel any independent body whatsoever to investigate security issues, to investigate issues of public interest. There is nobody. There is nobody. So I think that this is taking cluelessness and desperation too far. It is nonsensical for Mr. Tony Okocha to want to claim that he can wake up and empanel anybody, or any group, or any committee to look at an issue that borders on the security of Rivers State. Now, countless number of times, our party offices, our campaign venues, we are bombed. There is no prevaricating or grandstanding about it. These are issues that are facts. You could fact check me on this. That at Rumuwoji Playground, our campaign venue was bombed. Up till today, nobody was arrested. Up till today, nobody was prosecuted. And several of our offices were attacked, and nothing happened. Obnoxious decrees, I refer to them as decrees, Order 21 and 22, we are constructed against the APC in Rivers State in order to shut down the voice of the opposition in Rivers State. Where was Mr. Tony Okocha when all these things were happening? And so we say, without any iota of equivocation, that it is a complete show of shame, and it is disgraceful for somebody to wake up and want to, kidnap the powers of the executive governor of the state. It is taking hate in politics and toxicity too far.
Darlington, do you think that Mr. Darlington, my apologies, do you think that Okocha is doing this, Mr. Okocha is doing this because of the personality of the governor? Because people would say that if this was in Nyesom Wike, he wouldn't think about it.
Of course, the answer is hanging in the air. We all know that he cannot dare it. He cannot dare it. Nobody dared it. When all manner, like I said before, all manner of, I refer to them as decrees. When business premises of perceived political opponents of Mr. Nyesom Wike, we are shut down, we are clamped down in Rivers State. Nothing happened. And so how can somebody wake up one morning because of the perceived gentleness or the calmness of the governor, and you want to claim to be empaneling a group of individuals to investigate? How? Who gave you such audacity? Who gave Tony such powers? And by the way, who is Tony? By the force of law, and I know that we are going to get to that, by the force of law, a competent court has sacked him on the 12th day of August 2024. And so I do not know who he speaks for. I do not know who he thinks he represents. And I know for sure that the judiciary that they are today making fun of, that today they are denigrating, will at the end of the day catch up with them. Because you cannot be dancing around, dancing naked, and denigrating the cause of the other day, on the 30th of September, I heard the CJN, Justice Kekereku, our lordship, declaring that the Supreme Court of Nigeria will not accept any form, any iota, any attempt to disobey court orders. And what is happening in Rivers State clearly portends danger and an open invitation to anarchy, because there is a judgment that has sacked the caretaker arrangement set up by Ganduje on the 22nd of November 2023. And that judgment is yet to be set aside by any division of the Court of Appeal of Nigeria. And so we wonder how somebody who was clearly, sacked after a thorough judicial process can he carry himself and carry on as an impostor.
All right, Mr. Darlington. So that will put
the ruling
perspective.
party in Nigeria. You know, it is akin to disobeying the same judgment of the Benue State High Court. You know, recently the Benue State High Court sacked the caretaker committee there for similar reasons, for gross negligence of our party constitution. And Tony is unknown to law as far as we are concerned.
Now, I want to get to that particular conversation, which is the core of this. I spoke to Tony Okocha yesterday, and I reminded him the fact that he was brought in when Emeka Beke was removed. Emeka Beke went to court, was reinstated. That case was appealed by the NWC. Hearing has been adjourned. He said he's not in court. Those were his words to me. He said, I'm not in court. I don't know what you're talking about. They've gone on to organize a congress, and it feels like the NWC, correct me if I'm wrong, is comfortable with Tony Okocha over Emeka Beke.
I do not, it is not my business to read psychologically what the NWC thinks about the leadership of Emeka Beke. It is none of my business, because the courts have spoken. And so if the man whom you spoke to yesterday is claiming that is not aware of any court process, then what was the sitting of the 2nd of December for? The Court of Appeal sitting that held on the 2nd day of December, what was it for? And what was the appeals before the Court of Appeal panel? And what was the matter that was adjourned to the 4th and 12th of February 2025? What were the matters? What were the issues? Who appealed these issues? Who were parties to this issue? You see, when you deal with individuals who have no shame, individuals who lack integrity, there is nothing that is not possible with this set of individuals. So you cannot be denied. It's like him denying his name. He is beneficiary of a decision that Ganduje took on the 22nd of November 2023. And the court, Justice Sika proposed court, has taken a decision on November the 12th, 2024, dissolving that caretaker committee and declaring it null and void, ordering them to stop parading themselves. Even the very interview you granted Tony yesterday is against the order of that court. So your station disobeyed the court's judgment.
No, everybody has a right to speak. I invited him to speak because he wanted to speak. So it's not about me. Don't bring me into your issues. It has nothing to do with me. So you guys solve your problem. So I know what the law says and the boundaries of the law. So it's your problem, not my problem. So don't put it on me. Now, the question I want to find out from you, have you since this issue started, has the NWC been in contact with the Emeka Beke and yourself and the Emeka Beke-led APC in Rivers State?
Now, several persons have entertained these questions on several fora, and I have said clearly that the procrastination of this case, that is, to put it mildly, the prognosis rendered by Ganduje and his NWC on the Rivers APC crisis is completely shambolic. It's akin to treating cancer with paracetamol. In fact, their approach to the issues in Rivers has only exacerbated the crisis. They've succeeded in putting fuel to fire and expecting nothing to happen. The fact that we have an NWC whose members can stand before television cameras to declare with impunity that an order of court will not be respected, regarded, or obeyed by the NWC. That tells you the thinking, the charism ideology that Mr. Ganduje has come with. We are not surprised because he never went through the Congress to be elected. And so when you see persons who refuse to put themselves through the test of due process, they can allow anything to happen. Look at what is happening in Benue State today.
So let me, Mr. Darlington, let me put a picture for you now. Let me put a clear picture so that you can intervene in your own matter to the best of your ability. On one hand, there is an appeal that has not been heard. It's scheduled for next year. On the other hand, Tony Okocha, perhaps backed by Ganduje, has now organized a Congress and is being recognized as the leader of the APC in Rivers State by the NWC. The argument is party is supreme. The decision of the party is final. There's no point going to court. Perhaps I don't know where some of the things you mentioned where they disagreed with the decision of the court, because normally that's why I asked Tony Okocha yesterday. I asked him, I said, if you were removed as a chairman and Beke was reinstated and you appealed, the MWC appealed, and you were part of that, maybe added to that appeal, and that case has not been heard, it will be heard in January. On what is the premise of you claiming to be the chairman of the party? And the argument has always been the party has powers to decide what he wants. So how do you intervene in that kind of situation?
I'm trying to explain. Clearly, the issues that were formulated before the High Court, which the judge, after careful consideration of all the issues, after 9 months of back and forth, took a stand. Because number one, outside the fact that we are members of a political party, being a member of a political party does not also vitiate our rights as citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it is the duty, look, principally, the courts or the judiciary is there to protect the Constitution of the Federal Republic, to protect the rights of citizens, and to dispense justice. Now, one of the fundamental planks upon which the court took a stand against the decision of Abdullahi Ganduje and his NWC was that there was complete absence of fair hearing. And one of the principles of natural justice is that you must avail individuals fair hearing, the opportunity for fair hearing. And I think that is Section 46 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And now, if you look at Article 21 sub 3 of the APC Constitution, it prescribes steps that should be taken for the party to discipline its members. Now, we were never invited. No petitions were written against us. No panel was set up to investigate us or indict us. At the end of the day, there was a fiat emergency announcement akin to the military era, where we hear the martial laws and all that. So the court found at the fact that you did not, you accused these individuals, but you never gave them opportunity to defend themselves. And your own very constitution, Article 21 sub 3, has prescribed ways and means you should discipline your members. You have founded your own constitution. Therefore, what you do is not on point.
Let's begin to Coldstone. Where does this leave everyone? Because now all of you are grandstanding. We've seen situation in Rivers State where it's cherry picking as to what court judgment or order or ruling to obey. It's almost a common scenario with the political development in the state, as sad as it is. But my question is, where does this leave the APC? Because you have a crisis on your hand right now.
Well, I overheard you say we are grandstanding. We are not grandstanding. How can people who have obeyed the rule of law, submitted themselves to due process of law, be grandstanding? How? It means you are saying impliedly that the courts are also grandstanding.
Mr. Darlington, I choose. Hold on, Mr. Darlington. Just a moment. I choose my words correctly. My question is, don't drag me into your politics. I would like to, don't drag me into your politics. My job is to ask questions, give everybody a fair opportunity to make their case. And I gave you the premise of that case. My question now is, so let's stay with the question, on whose table does the buck stop? The NWC is speaking with Okocha. Emeka Beke has the court backing that has been reinstated. Where do you go from here? Let's stick to the issues.
Well, speaking to the issues, it is very clear that whereas one party has decided to be lawless, has decided to disobey court orders, has decided not to follow due process, the other party has decided to be lawful, to be peaceful, and to maintain the constitution of the Federal Republic and the constitution of our party. And we do know that by our experiences in 2018 and 2019, where the APC was delisted from the ballot, we are very careful about our decisions. We are very careful of the fact that we have the mandate of Congress. We were voted by Congress. I was voted by 1,403 persons, members of the All Progressive Congress. Those who claim to have been to have now emerged as leaders of the APC, how many persons voted for them? So you cannot claim to be leading a people without numbers. And the in Rivers State, as far as we are concerned, have organic followership, persons who have been persistent, persons who have been courageous in spite of the killings that took place in 2015. Which even exacerbated in 2022 when we lost one of our campaign coordinators. And so we are not afraid of the fact that any individual, anybody has taken side with Tony Okocha. We are only concerned with what the court says. What is the court saying? And we will be okay with that.
All right, it's great to be law-abiding. At the end of the day, the reason why we had to bring all sides to the table is because the position of opposition in a thriving democracy will continue to suffer with a divided opposition. I hope you understand the picture. I must thank you. Darlington Nwaogu. That's why we'll always bring you guys to see how you can move forward. So that's the idea. Darlington Nwaogu, reinstated APC Publicity Secretary of the APC Publicity Secretary of Rivers State. Thank you so much for coming on the program. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time. And of course, your usual company. Our job is to bring to the fore all of the political happenings across the country at midday. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.